All right, guys. So when I bought this Argo, I told you that I bought some parts for it and it needed to be replaced. Let me go over some of the things. So this machine was abused badly. I mean, this guy fucked this thing up pretty good. So let me show you a right side. Okay, so this one is correct, obviously. So this is a tensioner. The tensioners, they ratchet around, they lift, and then they go up and down, on spring tension. Okay, and then the chain rides over the top. You can see that this pad is pretty worn out, so I'm going to replace that pad too. But that's what creates tension on the chains when they get loose. Okay, now these are supposed to slide back and forth, so this one's not supposed to be sliding right now because it's supposed to actually be locked down with this pin, which was removed, and obviously it wasn't positioned on this thing correctly because it's supposed to line up with that hole. So again, he jacked this fucking thing up. The owner was a fucking moron, but at least the bearings on this are pretty good. Here on this side, not so much. So he obviously removed the tensioner, did a jack weld of this pipe right here, and put this over so the chain rubs under that and over the top of that. This bearing is actually fairly decent, but I'm going to end up replacing those bearings. Now up front here. Up front, I had to... Yeah, this is the mess I'm dealing with here. So he bent the frame up to get to the bolts, which is stupid. I'm going to end up bending that down. It's supposed to be the perfect box. He welded, like he did in the back, a piece of metal piping, and then welded a busted tensioner. He tack welded it, right there. And so here's the axle. We had to cut this axle in half, literally. Okay, so we cut the axle up because these gears are so badly rusted on the shafts that they no longer slide. I'm going to have a press to salvage these gears. Same with the bearing. The bearing's supposed to just slide right off, and the axle comes out, as one piece. But this is the flange. You can see how busted up that flange is, and that's what's left of the bearings. No bearings, actually. So you can it's just all fucked up. So both center axles, for some reason, the bearings, the outer bearings, were just jacked like that. So he abused it pretty good. Well, lucky for me, the axles themselves are only $110 for the axle. The flange kit is what I already bought with new bearings and everything else. The teeth on this, you can see how badly chewed up the double sprocket is. So I'm going to have to replace those. Those are $60, And again, on the other side here, same damn thing. You can see how badly chewed up, the flanges to where this axle is just fucked up. So I'm going to have to cut this axle off because I'm running into the same problem over here. It's so badly rusted, even with the keys out, that these gears will not slide off and on freely, like I showed you in the back. So I'm going to have to take this front flange off because it literally will not push out. The axle has to slide out, leaving the gears in place, and then they just kind of fall out. And again, this is a tensioner that works as designed. So apparently this thing busted. He probably busted something in the field, broke out a welder to limp it home, and then never fixed it. He just decided, fuck it, it's still good. And so those are the repairs that I have to do. Both center axles have to be replaced. I'm not going to have to replace any of the sprockets, but once I cut the axle in half to get it out, like I had to do the other one because it just won't slide out, then I'm going to have to press those gears off. I can reuse the gears on the new axle that I get after cleaning them up, sandblasting them, and all that good shit. So, all right, it's just an update on getting the Argo fixed. And, is what it is, but still the price I paid for it is still a pretty good friggin' deal. if you're interested in buying one of these things, those are the things you got to look for. You got to take those floorboards out, look at those chains, look at the tensioners, look at the axles, the bearings. You know what? Hey, those things are going to go out. It's supposed to be like every, I don't know, 1,000 or 1,500 hours you replace the inner and outer bearings just for posterity, but to keep it running smooth. And don't forget to use a grease gun on the greaserts right there and fill those damn things up with grease to keep it running smoothly. There's also inner and outer seals. That's what keeps this thing watertight from from floating around in the water. So, but just an update. That's the repairs that I'm doing on the Argo. I already got boxes of parts. I was almost there until I ran into the problem that now I have to buy new axles for it. But again, it's $200 for a set of axles, 2 axles. And the chains are in pretty bad shape too. But, you pop some links out because they stretch over time and everything. Break some links out of it. And, use the chains for a little while longer, then replace the chains. They're actually fairly cheap. So these double chains are like $50. The single chain, I think on their website, is around the same price. So you can replace the chains, which eventually I'll end up doing. But that's it. I got that big nasty ass freaking rack off the back of it. And I'm gonna get it in shape. It's gonna be the workhorse for our beautiful big piece of property out here, 30 acres on the house. So I'll get it in shape, and it's not only gonna be a workhorse for the property, but a fun toy. Hey, it's amphibious. If I got to dump another couple $100 into it, so be it. These things are expensive. They usually run a lot more than a used four-wheeler. I got my four-wheeler up and running. That was too easy. But this is actually pretty simple to work on. I'll get it in shape, but keep going with updates. All right. Those are the repairs. Fucking axles. All right, guys. We'll see you later.